It's not a quick fix. I said that a little while ago. It isn't something that you can just don't go out and research. Like I said, don't go and research and then go and attack your people. But I think one of the great things about and again I say the great things, but something positive that's come out of the pandemic that we've had is that employers want to do better by their people. They know some people have been working from home, they haven't been there and things like that. So for me, it's more about don't create coffee mornings, don't create something that you can't sustain. So, we're going to do a great coffee day now, because that's a one thing, right? But actually go into every single person that may have been working from home and say, how did you find it working out? What could we do better from you working? What was your experience working home? What didn't you like about it? And things like that. And it's understanding that person's thing and then actually create that idea, because your people will tell you what they want.
Talking with the experts.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. My name is Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com, and Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners. And you can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. And today it is my pleasure to introduce you to Richard Stevens from Inside the Orange, and we're going to be discussing understanding people. Now, Richard started asking the question, what's inside the orange? When he wanted to understand why he felt like he did about understanding people, how he wanted his sons to be understood when they started work, and one of them is autistic, and how you can get people to understand a business and a business to understand their people, but not just seeing what's on the outside. So once we see what's on the inside of the orange, you can understand your people better, and your people will understand your business too. Welcome, Richard. And that's a very good analogy. Thank you for that. It's really simple to understand.
Yeah, and it took me 35 years of my life to understand myself, and it was a simple thought that made this happen. And I just thought, this is so, this is so simple, but it's so relevant, I think, especially in today's world.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, what's inside the orange? Yes, it's people don't know, and there's lots of things inside of an orange. When if you really dissect an orange, there is lots to see and lots to discover.
Yeah, and I mean that is the simplicity of it. An orange is something everyone knows. Like a business is something everyone knows, or a person is. We identify some people so much from the outside, but as you so rightly said, until you open an orange, do you know how many segments there are in that orange? How much vitamin C is in it? What is it, good or bad? You might open it and it might be terrible on the inside, but you don't know that until you just open it up. And by opening up conversations, that's how we understand the inside of the orange of people. And that's, as I say, where the idea came from.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a simplistic view, but it's so relevant, as you said, in today's world, because people don't take the time to dissect the orange to getting to know a business, or getting to know the person behind the business, because we're just so rushed to get things done, and a lot of business owners don't take the time to get to know their customers or their clients either. They're just too busy in it for the money.
Absolutely, and it goes even simpler. So I'm a massive fan of Simon Sinek, and he talks so much about in a lot of his videos. He talks about CEOs talking about their customer, and he's like, you don't know your customer, but you know the people that are responsible for helping that customer. So if you know those people, they will give you everything you need to make your business successful for that customer. And it's so, I was thinking the other day, I've wrote a blog for a friend of mine, a leadership blog, and I said, a business owner will think of deadline. This deadline has got to be met. Yet someone in his business might have financial problems, or someone's family member might be ill. That is their deadline. That's all they care care about. But actually, if you understand that, they will help you meet that deadline. So don't beat them to death with the deadline. Understand them, and they'll just automatically come with you. And it's not hard. It starts with the conversation. That is simply it. It starts with understanding the person sat in front of you.
Absolutely. And a lot of business owners don't take the time to actually get to know their staff member or their client. I mean, marketers always talk about the ideal customer or your perfect avatar or whatever. And, down to hair color and clothing choices and the food they eat and so forth. But really, is it a true understanding of what the person is or who the person is that you're going to serve?
Yeah, and it is to a degree, because you can do, and again with things like Google now, there is a lot of things linked to Facebook, so you can see what people are interested in. But remember, there's still an element of people that will show a self on Facebook or will show a self to Google that isn't actually themselves. It's that version, it's that social media, and you put the word right, avatar. It's that one thing that they present themselves online, but that's not the whole thing. I'm a big believer that, people should understand the people. And there's a lot of things about business owners not being friends with their staff on Facebook and things. It depends, or Instagram, but it depends how you approach it. If you're approaching to find out what someone's done on a Friday night because they're off sick Monday morning, that's not the right way to use it. But if you want to see it because you know that they'll put, pictures of their family, their dog's name. If you can tell your employee's dog's name, people treat dogs like children. If you can speak to them about their pet, about their beloved pet, they will be just so grateful that you've actually took the time to understand their pet. And that's as simple as it is. Yeah. And again, that is what Inside the Orange was about. It's looking past, what the normal thing is, and it's just understanding just a little bit deeper. Yeah,
it's getting past the superficial stuff of the skin, really, isn't it?
And there was a thing I saw recently about, and I don't want to misquote this, so apologies if I do, but about there's an idea of the three faces. I think it's a Japanese philosophy, three faces. One you show the world, one you show the people close to you, and the one you never show anyone. And again, it's working out which face, knowing every single one of those faces without being too intrusive. Obviously, there's a way, and I word this with caution, don't go into it trying too hard to understand people. It starts with a conversation. Even if it starts with a hello, that's a wall down. Then one, how's the family? Then keep going down. Don't just go in, research this person in front of you and go, right, I hear your sister in, Australia's doing well. It'd be, hang on, how do you know that? You have to use it as a gentle process. It's a long-term process, but the results are astounding.
Yeah, they can be. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I have been doing this podcast for less than a year. I've met, you are my 153rd person that I've met.
Wow.
Through doing this podcast. And, some of the people are just absolutely amazing. Some of them weren't so, they didn't present to me very well or very friendly, but I'm sure that they were, but I obviously caught them on a bad day and they felt obliged to, to be on air.
Yeah.
But, outside of that, I'm sure that they're very nice people. But, it's 153 people I would not have met in my normal day-to-day business. And it's quite intriguing to me, not intriguing, but interesting, the diverse backgrounds and the diverse businesses that they have, and the conversations that we have sometimes don't even talk about the subject that they came on to talk about. We just sort of go off on a tangent. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey these last few months. So yeah, I've so enjoyed it.
And I think you've hit you've found 153 people, very diverse. So yeah, as much as it comes together on one podcast that you do, or the podcast that you do, there's still the diversity. But again, I loved your point. You said you catch them on a bad day. Any conversation we have with someone is a snapshot of that 24 hours they're living, because we do live in segments. We do live in these periods. We do live from one thing to another. And it's so important that we don't just go, oh, well, that was a waste. Do you know what I mean? I'm not really happy with that. That might have just been that 24 hours. Maybe that follow-up email saying, thanks for doing the show, you'd get a completely different person, or you would, because they would be in that next zone. They may have been really nervous talking about their subject and making sure, sitting here today going, have I said this? Have I said this? Have I said this? Have I said this?
Oh, did I come across good, or did I look good, or did I babble on too much, or So
I'm guilty of the last.
I've had some of those have emailed me and said, oh, sorry, I talked so long, or I talked too much, but that's the whole point of this. I don't want to be doing the talking. You're here for a reason, to tell me about what you know. So that's and that they were just surprised that I run my podcast like that. I want people to show up and talk about themselves. I don't want to be on screen. That's basically it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you want to help people understand through education and self-improvement how to understand that people only make poor decisions of leadership by uninformed or uneducated views and opinions, which is great, because that's what we're all guilty of it, whether we're in business or we're not. Even in our personal lives, we often make poor decisions, and uninformed and uneducated views and opinions. We're judgmental as humans. I think it's just a natural way. But how can business owners do this better? How can they be less judgmental?
It's not a quick fix. I said that a little while ago. It isn't something that you can just don't go out and research. Like I said, don't go and research and then go and attack your people. But I think one of the great things about and again I say the great things, but something positive that's come out of the pandemic that we've had is that employers want to do better by their people. They know some people have been working from home, they haven't been there, and things like that. So for me, it's more about, don't create coffee mornings, don't create something that you can't sustain. So, we're going to do a great coffee day now, because that's a one thing, right? But actually go into every single person that may have been working from home and say, how did you find it working out? What could we do better from you working? What was your experience working home? What didn't you like about it? And things like that. And it's understanding that person's thing, and then actually create that idea, because your people will tell you what they want. The coffee morning is fantastic. It's brilliant. What I did discover, I worked full time during the lockdown. I was a key worker in the UK, and I went to a place when the people working from home just came back to work, and they brought these people. All these people in the offices who've just come back, they treated them to a free ice cream. An ice cream van pulled up, and they all went out, got an ice cream, walked back up. They were walking past the call centre people who had been in the building the whole time during that lockdown, walking past, smiling, giggling with their ice creams. Now, that was lovely for the people that are working from home. But what about the people that had been there through the whole pandemic? As I walk past, and I love people, so I listen. I'm a bit of an eavesdropper. That's a bit naughty to say, but I walked past, and the office that hadn't got the ice creams was just purely saying, "I don't know what I'm doing here." Like, look at that, and I don't blame the people in the office, because it must be terrible to come back from working from home and be, not know if you've got a job to go back to from that aspect. But I just think that created an unnecessary divide. From people.
The sounds of it, it would have been
absolutely
terrible for the call centre people. They would have felt, why am I here? Why am I being treated such, so badly when I've been here the whole time, and put my health at risk and my life at risk.
Yeah. And I think, the company was trying to do a good thing. And I think when business owners put about, we're going to have this coffee morning to welcome people back, we're going to have 1 hour a week to do this, that will go. And it's not as important as actually just having the conversations and talking to people. That's about the pandemic, because obviously that's something currently we're in. But I think it's a lot of things. I think journaling is very important for business owners. If you start writing down, because I think a lot, I've mentioned Simon Sinek. He's very popular. He does these group days, and people go and see him as a collective, as a group. Once obviously the pandemic's over again, and businesses take their people or their leaders out and show them that, and they sit there and go, "Yeah, this is brilliant. This is great." Yeah, and Simon talks about, it's not just don't think results. It's not all about results. It's not. It is, but to get to results, you need to understand people. And people will sit there and listen to that, but then they'll go back to work and they'll just be took by the number once again. So as soon as that's over, they'll go, yeah, I'm going to change my ways. But actually, start writing down, how did that make you feel? How did this conversation with this person make you feel? And as you do that more and more, your people will come to you. One thing when I was a retail manager for a few years, and I used to frustrate the hierarchy because I wasn't interested in the result, but the people around me, I spoke to the people, and it caused so much frustration and so much conflict with other managers and other people around me, because they thought, well, you're not interested. No, I am interested, but I'm only interested as much as I can do as much. It's these people that have got to do it, but they've got to believe in me. They've got to trust me. They've got to trust that what I'm leading them towards is good results. But at the same time, I need to know who I'm talking to. I need to know the difference between talking to a 60-year-old woman to a 16-year-old guy straight out of thing, because they are different. And you can't just go memo to all, this is what you need to do. It doesn't work like that, because there are different spectres of their life, different spectres of their journeys, and understanding levels. And education, I use education very carefully. I'm not saying that everyone's got to go out and be educated and learn how to do it, but every conversation you are learning, every conversation where you aren't doing the talking, a bit ironic today in a podcast that I'm doing most of the talking, most of the conversations you're doing, you're listening to, you're educating yourself on somebody else. You might know a little bit more about what someone's going through. You might know a little bit more about how someone likes to be spoken to. Every little bit, there's so many kind of understanding there. And it just goes back. And I talk more to the business leaders, who are doing it. I'm not talking to people who are doing it, and I'm not talking to people that think their results are cool. I'm talking to the people who are sitting there with their head in their hands in the evening going, why can't I get my team to understand what I need? And I'll be honest, it's because you don't understand them enough for them to understand what you need. Your needs are last. Understand them, and they will understand you. Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I've had a couple of people with that very same philosophy. They haven't put it quite as eloquently as you, but it's the same, about teamwork and understanding your staff and managing staff and doing that. The philosophy is exactly the same. You need 100%. To understand your staff before your staff will even think about trying to understand you, because they don't care about you. They just care about themselves. And where their money's coming from, and they just want to know that they can go to their job and have a great day and not be frowned upon for smiling. So
yeah, absolutely. And that, again, great point. People do feel that they can't go to work and have a bit of fun. Again, as long as the work's being done, as long as things are happening, then you can, you need... Work is so much more social than people allow these days, Work is so much more about how this team comes together, this group of people come together to make that result happen. And what's lovely is, as I say, the Inside the Orange is a single thing at the moment. It's myself, but I involve family, I involve friends, I involve a lot of people, because you can't do anything on your own. You cannot do anything on your own. You need people around you to help you. And people are willing to help, but you can't just... and this is the other part as well. You can't just expect people to work for you for cash. The one thing I do hate, I don't know if it's applicable in Australia, but one thing I hate when you see people's poor behaviours about others, and they say, well, in jobs this is, well, they're getting paid, aren't they? Right.
Oh yeah, that happens here too.
Yeah. That is their need. That is why they need to work. They need a job to pay their bills. Yeah. Why they want to work is why you will go to the next level. Why they want you to be at your job.
A want and a need is two different things. And I need to go to work to feed my family, but I don't want to go to work because you're an arsehole of the boss. So yeah.
Yeah. Eloquently put yourself.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I've worked for a few companies that are like that, and it's just it's not nice to have to go to work with where you're not allowed to have fun. And I mean, I worked in one organisation where you weren't even allowed to have personal items on your desk, so you weren't allowed to have a photo of your cat or your dog or your family or anything. There was no personal items allowed whatsoever because
Mhm.
they said it was distracting.
See, this is where I disagree. 100. I'm
Oh yeah,
with
so do
you. I'm with
I.
you. Yeah. So yes, there is so many businesses, and I think at the UK, and again, it's not all businesses. Some businesses are getting better, and as I'm going around and I see people, there are desks with pictures of family, and I urge business owners. They are the people that they are working for. Normally, the people on their desk are the people that they are working for, not the business owner. Yeah, they work for you. They'll provide, but if you want them, I actually, I symbolically, I've got my wife and my children. I've got them tattooed on my arm, so I can always see who I'm working for because they're there in front of me.
Mm.
And that's the way I combated that. I'm not saying everyone to go out and get tattoos for
No,
doing
no,
that. If it's a,
but I just find it so incredible that they wouldn't allow you to have personal things. I mean, I, I'm not saying to clutter your desk with stuff, but I'm just saying, even one photo, should be allowed. I think, oh my God, I was just so. I have a favourite pen that I always worked with, but I wasn't even allowed to use that because it was a personal item. And my
yeah.
God, it was just so. Oh,
Yeah, and again, I presume this is a company you no longer work for.
oh,
So
absolutely not.
yeah,
No, I didn't work
and
there long. I couldn't stand it. It was horrid.
and and that's the thing, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? We and I think this is important. That I think people would walk away from well-paid jobs for these very reasons. Again, and some business owners might think, well, hang on, that's a little bit much, but it's not because you're not understanding the people. At the end of the day, this is all about simply understanding that person sat in front of you who you are trusting to do a job. So trust that the people that they may have, or as I say, your pen or whatever you need, that is your arsenal to do the job that you're going to do, and that's how you'll do it better. And it's simple things like this that doesn't cost the company a penny. You'll provide all your own things. You'll provide, and again, don't clutter your desk, you're absolutely right, but you'll provide your pictures, you'll provide that, and that is providing you the inspiration to do the best you can in your job because you are doing it for the people and for the things and for the reasons why you want to do it. And as we said from the beginning, all the way through, Rose, this is a simple idea. I haven't come anywhere saying I've reinvented the wall. All I've the wheel. All I've done, I've reinvented a few of them. But all I'm saying is that simple idea of understanding. We've all got it in us. It's just I want to tell the story. I want people to hear it because I want people to feel better, and I want people to do their job better. I want people to be understood better, and that's
Yeah,
that's the simplicity of it.
yeah.
Again, with if I can just say, with there's one thing, and you alluded to in my intro about my children going into work.
Mm.
So that for me is the big one. So obviously you want your best for your children,
Oh, absolutely.
and 100%. And I know the battles, and I have had battles, and I've had conflict in business because I didn't understand how I thought, and I battled that maybe I should be like someone else, but I want them to go into work to be understood as them because once they do that, they will be understood the best. They will be the best employees you will have because they're understood. My youngest son is autistic. As I said, this is a lot of where the idea of the Inside the Orange came from that, because I think we induct people into businesses with a one sheet. This is welcome to our business. This is what we do. Welcome to our business. We train people. This is how our business operates. We review people. This is how our business operates. Hang on a minute. No. That doesn't work for me, and it won't work for 90% of other people. And retention is something else I'm so important about. Businesses sitting there going, why can't I keep staff? Because you don't understand them.
Because you're an
Because
asshole of a boss, and yeah, you just treat people like sheep.
again, thanks for putting it in better words for me. But yeah, absolutely, and it does come down to that person who needs to listen. And as I want my kids to go into work and be understood, I want them to be understood, and and again, I want the companies to help that because I want them to understand their rest of their people.
Yeah, better
Simple.
education for bosses and leaders is not a bad idea.
No.
And now because we're moving into a new world, the pandemic has forced us to change the way we do business, the way we even look at employing people, the way we engage with the community. it's changed everything. And the quicker that bosses and managers and leaders can identify that they need to change what they're doing to to keep the skilled workers that they have, because they're not going to keep them if they keep treating them the way they treated them before the pandemic, because it's just not going to work anymore.
No, not at all. There's another point, if I could quickly say, sorry, I am doing most of the talking, I do apologise. But one thing I thought of as well, coming from the top, is it was a dilution of ideas. So I always kind of felt that once a memo got to the shop floor team, as I'll call them, so the people that actually face-to-face customer every day, it was so not the message that started with in the boardroom when the board decided this. So you say it was a people idea. So we're talking people today. It's a people idea, and you've got someone else in the business in that boardroom from operations and finance. Okay, and this people. So you've got the chairman, then you've got the board of people, board of finance, board of operations. That person, the board of people, will come up with an idea. Now, straight away, operations will think, what's in it for me? And finance will think, how much is this going to cost? So that message is already being filtered down. So when these people have then got to talk, so the operations and finance have then got to talk to their people, it's not going to be the same message as what the people person said.
No.
But the people in those places, and you put that down, so say you've got 6 or 7 levels between boardroom and floor staff. How poor is that message going to be for
like
some of those people?
Isn't it?
Absolutely. By the time it gets to the bottom of that list, you're going to get, you need to do this and it's got to be done by tomorrow. And that's not the message that the person at the top gave at all.
No,
but and that's the simply of it. But we don't think like that. We don't think, why should I listen to this person? Why should this people person then go, actually, I'm going to deliver this message to your people person, all the way down until... And we don't. We just kind of sign it off. Yes, it's been delivered to these people. Yes, it's been delivered to the next level. Yes, it's been delivered to the next people. And rarely is it ever delivered the message that was actually originally said.
So tell me about your podcast, Richard.
Yeah, so again, I love talking to podcasters about podcasting, because it's almost like we talk about the things that we love, and this is it. So the podcast came about because having these ideas and just being a guy off the street in the UK, I built a business idea, and I thought, I want to tell businesses. And people were saying, well, businesses aren't going to care about you. So I was like, okay. And then I thought, well, why don't I just talk about the idea of it in a podcast? So I wrote some solo episodes out, and I thought, do this. And then a few friends came along and said, I like the idea of that. Would you interview people? And I was like, I would. Yeah, okay, let's interview people. So I thought, I'll interview some people and I'll talk about them. I'll talk about their why, as if, with paraphrasing Simon Sinek a little bit again there, but what made them them. And I always write about 10 questions out for my guests, 10 base questions that I ask them to send me the bio, and just say, look, and I kind of dissect them, and I kind of go, right, what would I, what does this mean? And a business leader's talking about, do you see versions of yourself today? Ex-footballers about mentality, or soccer players about mentality. I've had a guy on about that. And I just wanted to do the podcast from the perspective of this idea of Inside the Orange, so talking bits about that. And now also, because I've had so much kind of joy first couple of seasons, I've had people coming to me and going, can I talk? Can I come and have a conversation? My only rule is I don't allow too much self-promotion, because I'm happy to promote. I'm really happy to say this person's got this going on or this going on, but I don't want them to come in as a sales pitch. I want to get behind the business or the idea, or I want to understand how this person thinks. And again, once they do, if they've got books out, tell us about your book, but how did you get there? How did you get to this business? How did you get this? And so I'm in the second season now. I do take breaks in between because I want to build the business, and I want the podcast to complement it and build the brand. That's the whole point of it. A year ago today, no one had heard of Inside the Orange other than me and my wife, as I talked about it. But through the talking and through the podcast and understanding others, as I say, more people are going, I want to hear about that. And we're talking, and I love it. As I say, I've had so many great guests. I've talked autism with people, which is, people, one of the lads actually has autism. I spoke to a mother of someone with autism. I've just had so much. And again, like you said, a diversity not one guest is the same, and that's
No.
good, and that's my point. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely. So have you got a book in the pipeline about all of this?
Do you know what? I did a cheeky little blog the other day, and yes, I haven't started it yet. But do you know when you get to that point where you think I need to start writing this down, because there's little bits and pieces, there's little nuggets that just go in. So I am going to spend a bit of the off season. So I'm not going to do another podcast series for a bit, because I am going to focus on writing a bit of a book. And yeah, I think there's a book in there. I think it's as I say, my wife will be having the television for the evenings while I'm sitting here tapping away, and probably tell me, stop tapping away, I can't hear the telly. But yeah, the book, yeah, there's definitely something coming out of that. I really do.
So where can they find you, Richard?
Yeah, well, I'm all over social media. So I've got Inside the Orange podcast on Facebook. So if you go to Facebook and look for Inside the Orange, if you go to Instagram, Inside the Orange, you'll find me on Instagram. Twitter, it's Orange Watts. So Orange WHATS. Yeah, that's right. Yep. So as in what's inside, so the beginning of the original question. I've got a website, it's insidetheorange.co.uk. I'm available on TikTok, but I don't do as much on that at the moment. I'm still 35-year-old understanding TikTok. My kids are really helping me with that one.
You're on Apple Podcasts, I see, as Inside the Orange, and you're on YouTube as
YouTube. Yeah.
You haven't named your YouTube channel yet, so that's it. You're a bit like me.
Yeah. Do you know what? That's a bit silly.
Letters and numbers after it. But
that's okay. That might explain why a lot of people can't find it. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
I'll go away and fix that. But yeah, I am on.
Just pointed that out publicly. That's okay.
No, look, and you're absolutely fine to. As I say, that's helped me understand, which is exactly what I'm here for. I'll sort that out. But yeah, so I'm on YouTube. If you do search for Inside the Orange, you can get to it, because it has got a name in reading. Yeah, you'll find it. Spotify, listen notes, all that for the podcast. So yeah, you can listen to me, or you can read my stuff on the websites and the social medias. So yeah, I try to be active on everything, really.
Good on you. Perfect stuff. All right, Richard. Any last wise words?
Well, no, as I say, it's simple. All I talk about is simplicity, and again, it's not reinventing the wheel, as I'll get it right this time. It's not, but just understand people. Just understand your people. And if you don't feel, or if you feel that you're hitting your head against a brick wall, go to the website, find me on any of the social media, and just ask me a question. I want to change the world. It's not something I can claim I found a secret potion for, but I just ask people to think differently, and just to listen differently, and just to hear differently. So please, don't feel that you're going to message me and get charged £25 an hour for me to tell you. I'm here ultimately for my kids to be better understood, and for people to be better understood in business. So if I can help, reach out. I'm more than happy to help you. Promise you.
Well done, Richard. Thank you. I've had a really engaging conversation with you, and I thank you for cheering up my evening.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. Yes, because you're very late there, aren't you? I'm first thing in the morning, and you're late in the evening, aren't you?
Just before 8 o'clock, so it's not that late, which is great. But yeah, it's been good, because I was a bit weary, and I thought, another boring podcast. And I thought, no. But you actually cheered up my evening, so thank you.
Oh, bless you. Look, and thank you for the opportunity as well. And again, I hope I've added value to your podcast, because
you have most certainly.
What I can do.
Anyway,
bless you.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you very much, Rose.